I'm Shae Russell from mining.com.au. I'm coming to you once again from the Rule Symposium in Boca Raton. And this time joining me today is Shawn Khunkhun, the CEO of Dolly Varden Silver Corp. Shawn, how are you?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me on.
I'm thrilled to have you on. Now, I've seen you at this conference for the past couple of years. We've never actually got the chance to talk on camera, so I'm super thrilled to be doing that today. And you are in what seems to be one of the hot metals at the moment, and that is silver. Now, this isn't a hot metal for you. You've been exploring and developing silver projects for quite some time. Tell me, what is Dolly Varden working on out in British Columbia?
That's a great question. So we're in an area called the Golden Triangle, and it's known for its gold mines because they've got some of the richest gold mines on the planet. The Premier Mine, Eskay Creek, Brucejack, Newmont's operating Brucejack. They acquired Newcrest. So what I'm trying to investigate is Dolly Varden going to be like these other mines that started off as silver deposits and turned into some of the greatest gold mines the planet's known. And so Dolly was the richest silver mine in the British Empire when it was operating in 1919. During the 1950s, it was Canada's third largest silver mine. So I inherited a rich history. And I've been in the mining industry advancing gold companies for the last 20 years. I made a decision 4 years ago that I needed to get a strong weighting to silver. And the reason for that is when I was advancing companies in the 2000s, I built a gold mining company from inception to $1.5 billion. I made more money speculating on silver stocks in a few months than I did building that gold mining company. So the lesson was, the next time I thought we were going to be in a precious metals bull market, I wanted to get a weighting to silver. And the reason I picked this project is it's a primary silver mine, it's high grade, and it's in a safe jurisdiction. And why that's so important is only 28% of silver comes from primary mines. So this is unique. But what makes it rare amongst a unique group is the location. Not being in Mexico, not being in Argentina, Peru, being in Canada is, and it's actually the third richest silver mine on the planet. So what I've done since taking over the company 4.5 years ago is our market cap in Canadian dollars has gone from 20 million. It's valued today at 315. Our share price is up about 500%. And we've done that at a time where most of my peers have struggled. But we've been very fortunate. It's a very prospective project, and we've added 100 million ounces of silver to the mineral inventory. We've got about 150 million ounces today, and we're continuing to grow. We're drilling, we're making discoveries, and it's exceptionally rare to have a high-grade primary silver mine with a rich gold byproduct.
Yeah, this is incredibly rare. I haven't heard much of this being described before in the past. So tell me, what stage are you at? Maybe let's give people some of the important numbers. We've talked about it being high grade. What does that look like? How much more drilling needs to be done to shore up this resource?
So I want to talk to you about my vision.
Oh, okay.
Okay, my vision for this company was miners mine ore. And what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to secure high quality inventory for a miner. And my thinking was, when I first came across this company, it was trading at 40 cents a silver ounce in the ground. I think we're going to get $4 an ounce in the ground. We're trading at $1.80 today. And the question I had was, how many ounces are we going to multiply that $4 by? Is it going to be 200 million? Is it going to be 300 million? We're currently at a $300 million market cap. I can see a path to $1 billion. And when I talk about grade, the Dolly Varden Silver Mine's average production grade was measured in the kilos per ton. So 1,100 grams per ton.
The kilos per ton. Hang on, say that again. The kilos per ton.
Yeah, it was over a
kilo. That is extremely impressive.
And the Torbert mine was 0.5 kilo per ton. But if you look at the great mines in the area, Eskay Creek, and people think of Eskay and they think about Barrick's 3 million ounces of gold production at 49 grams per ton gold. But that's not what I focus on. I focus on the silver, the 200 million ounces of silver that were produced at 2,400 grams per ton average. So there's been 1.2 billion ounces of silver discovered outside of my property. Okay, we've got a tenth of that within our project, but I think there's a tremendous amount of prospectivity, and I'm surrounded by these incredible mines But in 2022 and in 2023, the best drill results in all of the Golden Triangle came from Dolly. It's the richest 20 kilometers on planet Earth for gold and silver mineralization in the Golden Triangle, KSM Brucejack. So look, there's a reason that 92% of the company is owned by Hecla, Eric Sprott, institutions like Fidelity. It's a small retail float. The investors that are in the deal have done a tremendous amount of due diligence. It's been one of the better performing silver equities, and that was pre-$30 silver. Now that we're into this new paradigm and that silver miners can actually make money,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
What a novel idea.
They're profitable for the first time in a long time.
Ever.
Yeah.
Are we going to see, like we have in copper, with record high copper and record high gold, are we going to see increased M&A activity?
I've been wondering that question as well, and I don't want to derail today's interview with talking about this, but maybe we do wait here, because at the end of the day, let's be honest, a lot of the big miners have completely absconded from having a decent exploration team, and they're letting other people do the work. Do you actually think that's possible? Like, is that part of your vision to be taken over, or do you want to actually grow this baby to beyond $1 billion in market capital yourself?
It's a great question. I keep it really simple in that, look, mining is a very humbling business and it's a capital intensive business. And if I were to be, depending on the type of deal that was presented to me, is it a cash deal? What's the premium? Where are we in terms of the prospectivity, the growth, the opportunity? Who is the acquirer? What is their growth prospects? What are their technical expertise? It's a very complicated question, but ultimately the simple answer is, look, and it sounds kind of corny, but every decision we make, we ask ourselves, is this in the best interest of the shareholders? And I think if I got a bid at the right premium with the right company, I'd probably endorse it, right? Particularly considering that we've created a lot of value for our shareholders already. I think it's a tough question though, because in our business, it's binary. You either have it or you don't. And I've made most of my money averaging up on projects that are working. And so it's going to be a fun decision and question to ask ourselves, and we'll rely on fairness opinions and evaluations, and we'll do all that. But ultimately, look, I'm having a lot of fun because I've got the right team. Where it's a project that's delivering, and now we're in a market that's starting to pay for our discoveries.
Well, now you're in a market that likes silver. And I know there's a lot of people at this conference that's liked silver for a while, but now this is a broader market that's very interested in silver and the long-term opportunities in that. So it's good times ahead. Tell me, I know why you've told us why you've picked this project today, but what would sort of be the next step for Dolly? Like, what are you working on for the next 6 months? Because you know what investors want. They want to know where the next rise is going to come from.
So in order to feed that appetite, we're working...
Oh, not that we guarantee rises. For anybody listening, nobody guarantees a rise.
So we're literally working 24 hours a day. 3 drill rigs are turning, and we're producing results. And what we've uncovered is there is a paradicity, and we've...
Oh, paradicity, stop. Explain that one.
Well, there's a repeating pattern.
Okay, and that's what the geological term's broken down to?
Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you very much for completing our dictionary.
We've got a 15-kilometer trend, and there is a rhyme and a reason that I'll describe it as we've been able to fingerprint the discoveries and look for other parts of the project that are going to produce the same result. And there's nothing fancy here. There's no AI that's brought us to this conclusion. It's just poring over the historic records and looking at opportunities that are open and looking for similarities in geometry, plunge, dip, and having the capital and the courage to take some shots, and empowering a team of brilliant scientists who studied the various styles of mineralization here that they're finding on other projects in a very prospective area. One thing I wanted to touch on though, in terms of silver, as an industry, we're scheduled to produce 800 million ounces this year-ish. And at $30 silver, that's $24 billion. NVIDIA trades that in a day.
Oh, wow.
So what I find interesting is, it's nice that there's a few of us in the industry that are talking about this, but the reality is I don't think the world has picked up on this. It's a tiny market, and I really have looked at some numbers, and I've crunched some numbers, and I really see a path to $75 silver imminently. And it's a very specific target, and I didn't pull it out of my...
I was going to close the interview at the end of this question, but absolutely not. We're going to stay here and stick with this for a moment.
And I'll tell you, I just want to say, if you go back and look at some of the other interviews I've been on record, you go back to September, when silver was $20, I was literally, and I won't do it because I don't want to disrupt your cameras, but I was pounding on the table saying,
You're going to get a sturdier table next year.
This is an all-in moment in September. And we've seen the price of silver rise dramatically. It's up over 50%. We've seen equities like Dolly up over 100%. Where I still think at a 77-to-1 silver to gold ratio, my experience and studying history tells me we're in the early innings. It hasn't started. And if you look at, money creation, you look at inflation, $75 silver is the number it should be today. And again, that's a reasonable number considering where gold is trading, but markets don't work that calmly and efficiently. We'll likely see an overshoot like we have in previous times, especially with no overhead resistance. So we could be in triple digit territory. Not saying it's going to live there or stay there, but it could overshoot there.
Let's just stick with the $75 for just a moment, because while there's a certain group of the market that get very excited about silver turning into real money once again, the main drivers of silver demand are actually industrial demand. How do you see those fundamentals supporting the silver price going forward?
It's a great question. So if we look at Q1, 35% of silver demand came from two sources. One was solar, the other was Indian buying. Now, if you look at gold priced in rupees, it's unattainable for the average Indian consumer. So they're turning to silver. So I see the silver market going from 3% a decade ago to 15% today to 50% in the future. So silver is going to ask for 50% of all the silver we mine. The most important question that I have, and I don't have the answer to this, is with the majority of silver coming as a byproduct, and with some of the challenges, the cost, the resistance to some of these copper mines, these lead zinc mines, where are we going to get the future silver? Considering that the primary silver mines, a lot of them are deep, they're narrow, and the capital required to expand their production profile is a lot. It's enormous. So I think we could find ourselves in a place where if the world recognizes silver as money again, like maybe we get to a universe where we're trading at 15-to-1 silver to gold ratio. That's likely. So I don't know if that answers your question.
It doesn't answer my question, but I'm a curious person. We could rapidly derail today in exploring that. I guess I want to bring it back to what Dolly's doing. And I think maybe next time we have a broader conversation around the silver market.
Sure.
You've got lots of interesting ideas to explore. Let's go back to what Dolly is going to achieve. Like, we started with our next 6-month goal, but overall, when are you going to be in production? Like, what's that timeline look like?
So that's never been a goal for me.
Oh, okay.
It's not about production. And I know it's a foreign concept for a lot of investors because they see free cash flow as the most important factor.
Yeah.
But for me, it has always been, if you can make discoveries, that's where I see value creation, organic growth. So for me, it's a goal of a mineral inventory exceeding, and I don't want to put a number to it today, but let's just say this. When I first came into this company, we had 44 million ounces in the ground. And on the front cover of my presentation, I said, we're on a quest for 100 million ounces. Well, today we've got 150. So could I put a number out there and try to achieve it? I'm going to let the rocks talk. Okay? So we'll put out the discoveries, and we'll come out with a new resource estimate, and we'll see where we stand. And to me, it's not all about the size of the resource. It's about the quality and the economics and the grade. How profitable will this be in the future? But I think the longer it takes to get there in terms of, if it doesn't take 6 months, if it's, let's say in 18 months, we're still drilling out the extent of maybe a 1 billion ounce silver resource. What is the market going to pay for those ounces 18 months from now?
It is a big question.
I'm okay waiting.
Yeah, you're okay waiting. Oh, that's a good place to leave today's conversation. Listen, Shawn, thank you so much for being here today. Fascinating conversation, and I think I'll have to get you on camera again in the future.
I'd love
because
that.
there's a lot more things to explore here.
Okay.
Thank you for being here on mining.com.au.
Thanks for having me.